Booksmart is a coming-of-age film starring Beanie Feldstein and Kaitlyn and is directed by Olivia Wilde. Olivia Wilde is a very well-known actress who has done several films, television shows, and plays. She's directed a short film and a few music videos in the past, and now she's making her feature film debut. And I have to say, I loved it. Something impressive to note about Booksmart is its visual presentation. A lot of times when people are directing their first film, their visual presentation is very cheap. And you can tell that this is their first project. With Booksmart, it's very clear that Olivia Wilde very much understands camera work and filmmaking. Obviously, directing music videos helps with this. But if I were to tell you that this was her directorial debut, you didn't know who this director was, I'm sure some of you would probably be shocked. The cinematography is not on the same level as something like Blade Runner 2049 or Climax, but it is very impressive nonetheless, especially for a directorial debut. While we're on the subject of the filmmaking, the editing was also very well done. It wasn't extremely stylistic or anything along those lines, and again, not on the same level as other films, but especially for a directorial debut, the editing is actually very well done. The standouts of this film are obviously its two leads, Kaitlyn and Beanie Feldstein. They have so much chemistry together, and every time they were both on screen together, I was consistently laughing. Something interesting to note is that these two actresses actually moved in together while the film was being shot. So the fact that the two leads lived together during the production of this film makes their chemistry even more impressive. They did not detract from anyone else's performances, but they did stand out. There are so many supporting characters in this film that are also hilarious. A lot of times in films, these characters would just be comic relief and would not be very likable at all, but that is not the case in this film. I actually found myself laughing with almost every character in this film. Every time a crazy situation pops up with one of the side characters, it is made very funny by these actors' performances. There's this one scene in particular that I think is about halfway through the film involving a car that's decorated with hearts and lights. What happens throughout the entire scene is gut-bustingly hilarious, especially at the end. I won't spoil it for those of you who haven't seen the film. There are plenty of gut-bustingly funny moments like this, and honestly the film didn't really give me many moments to breathe in that aspect. Every other scene, there's some other situation that these characters get involved in, and that is so hilarious that it's hard to not laugh at it. The writing is so well done for this film as well. The fact that the film was written by 4 different people and still manages to be enjoyable, creative, and funny is a feat of its own. Like, yeah, it's happened before, but it doesn't really happen all that often. And Booksmart is a very rare exception. There's also a lot of stuff in this film that you would expect to happen with these two characters that doesn't really happen. I wouldn't say they're also like bait and switch, but there are things that don't expect to happen at all. I feel like some people might be concerned with the use of iPhone footage in this film, but the reason that the iPhone footage works in this film and not in something like the Florida Project, in the case of the Florida Project, it was only shot on an iPhone so that he could get 2 of the actresses into Disneyland without Disney's permission, and because it was meant to be in the same scene these characters were in, instead of just a random video on the internet, it makes it really jarring. Whereas with Booksmart, the iPhone footage serves as videos that these two characters find on social media. The stuff that's going on in these iPhone videos in Booksmart isn't actually happening within the same scene, and it's made pretty obvious that they're watching them off of a phone.
It's such a sadness that you think you've seen a film on your fucking telephone.
So in that case, I think it really works. There's not really much more I could say about Booksmart. I can't really say I actually have any flaws with it. There might be a few shots here and there that look kind of bad, but they don't detract from my score of the film. And quite honestly, Booksmart is probably my favorite film of 2019 so far. It was hilarious, endearing, engaging, and I overall really enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what else Olivia Wilde does as a director. I can't wait to see Beanie Feldstein and Kaitlyn in more roles. I'm gonna give Booksmart a 10 out of 10.